I'm Doug Massey, and if you're getting into life insurance sales and or final expense sales and would like to know how much money you need to put aside, for your insurance business, along with what agencies to go to based on your budget and sales experience, then this video is 100% absolutely for you. Would you like the free new agent telesales super file that has sales materials that you'll absolutely want to use for selling final expense remotely over the phone? Just stick around to the end of the video and I'll show you how to get this dude for yourself. Today, I'll be sharing some information about some of our competitors, including Lincoln Heritage, believe it or not, Senior Life Services of Vero Beach, Florida, Senior Life of Georgia, the Duford Insurance Group, DIG, Digital BGA, and of course, I'll be sharing information about my agency, United Final Expense Services, and why I truly believe that we have the strongest final expense telesales platform in the country. So let's start with a thumbs up and subscribing if you're a new viewer. We're putting out insurance sales content and final expense sales training videos like all the time. Let's hop right in and talk about the money necessary, the funds, the investment capital that you're gonna need to get started if you are the type of person who I wanna say is maybe like a business minded and expects to earn like at least 100K. 100, 150, maybe $200,000 plus, by the time you're at least in your second year in the business. Once you're licensed, I generally recommend that you expect to invest at least $3,000 to $5,000 during your first month or so maybe while selling. And honestly, guys, the deciding factor of this is going to be determined by really your level of sales skill and maybe closing abilities, that you've already got coming into the business, and or how fast you can actually learn. The big fallacy that's being sold throughout the entire industry, and let me just say this mainly by multi-level marketing insurance agency managers and recruiters, is that anybody can earn like a couple $100,000 a year with, only a minimum, and that's the key, with a minimum investment. Guys, let me just make something clear. You're not gonna spend a few $100s on leads every now and then earn $100,000 a year. That's just not gonna happen. That's completely unrealistic. And sure, there's always gonna be that special person, right, who can actually make this happen. But if you don't have the right investment capital and or are not comfortable investing financially in your insurance sales business, there are a few agencies that can work with you anyways, that are willing to, give it a shot. Lincoln Heritage, for example, will finance the leads for you. And with most of their agencies, you will be giving up like a certain commission percentage in order to get this financing, because the way it works is they're going to give you leads, they expect you to sell, and then they're going to take the money for the cost of the leads out of the back end. In other words, out of your sales monies. So of course, a positive aspect of working with Lincoln Heritage would be the lead financing and the training that they're going to offer. And I would say some of the cons would be that, you're not only giving up some of your commission for this access, but if you don't end up doing well, like right from the start, you could literally start your career in debt, like right off the bat. And so what happens when you've got debt that doesn't get paid off immediately in the insurance industry? That debt is more likely going to roll up to your upline manager, which means that they're going to have to pay it. Somebody does. And then the insurance carrier is going to vector you. This is devastating on your credit. And it basically also means that the insurance carriers are going to be notified and most likely won't want anything to do with you until that debt is paid off. And depending on what part of the country that you're living in, you might have access to one of the Lincoln Heritage agencies that specializes in remote sales. Now, I do know that there's an agency, Adam Hale, I believe, has some type of subsidized lead program. So instead of them financing your leads, they'll actually just give you leads, and contract you at a much lower level. And this is also how Senior Life Services of Vero Beach works. They contract you at a first year commission, I want to say right around 50%, and then they put you on their, it's subsidized. It's not free. It's a subsidized leads platform. And I know they've got good training. Okay, at Senior Life Services, the simple fact is, I've spoken with a bunch of agents, and I personally know a few also. And buyer beware. These guys have a reputation of not releasing agents. So you got to accept the fact that if you work with them, they're not going to release your contracts afterwards. You'll have to go 6 months if you do want to move certain contracts like American Amicable, Prosperity, and there's a few more too. So what about the Duford Insurance Group, DIG? Owned by and run by David Duford. You've probably seen his YouTube channel. If you've found mine, you've probably seen what he does. He's got great content. And yes, he does have a subsidized lead program too. And what I know about DIG is that they vet their agents really well. So they don't just take anybody, who can fog a mirror. That's not how they do things. They've got very good training, and the perspective over there is pretty unique. They actually understand that most agents can't handle paying for their own leads. So the kind of theory I would say, if you're looking at them is you've got to have some talent, and they're going to give you a fair comp, around 50%, and they're going to buy your leads. You just got to make the sales. Let's talk about Senior Life of Georgia, and then afterwards we're going to get into my friends at Digital BGA, which in no way are affiliated with each other. It's just the way that I worded that. The bottom line is they do something completely different, everything completely different. They have nothing to do with each other, but there is one thing they sort of have in common. They both generate TV leads for their agents and specialize in remote final expense life insurance sales. And with Senior Life of Georgia, depending on the agency that you contract with, again, similar to Lincoln Heritage, it's all based on where you live, which is kind of weird. The first year starting commission is usually around 90 to 100%, with that commission percentage having the ability to increase based on your production and basically how well you do. The big pro, the positive about Senior Life of Georgia is that I want to say for around, I believe they're like $50 per lead, you can actually get access to their inbound television commercial lead. And from what I understand, some of the leads are directed to an internal operator, while some leads go through the system and are actually picked up by the agent. The agent actually answers the phone. So yeah, the idea that this happens is pretty cool. Let me just be transparent. I've heard different things from different agents. I've even been told different things from different managers. So I'm not exactly sure how their system works. But again, this information is based on what I've been told. In my mind, if you're paying for leads, then 100% first year commissions is like minimum wage. That's kind of the way I look at it. Anything less, and now you're like busting your butt to work harder to make up for that lack of commission. Basically, what happens, I feel like if you're like a mediocre kind of average agent, this could be a huge fail. In our industry, final expense and or life insurance sales. This is, again, my opinion, my perspective. I truly believe that a 10-point difference, a 10% difference in commission could actually be the difference between you succeeding and or failing. And let me bring, one other thing up about both Lincoln Heritage and Senior Life before I move on to Digital BGA. And this is something that I really don't like about Senior Life Services of Vero Beach. Lincoln Heritage and Senior Life of Georgia both have their own final expense product. They're not telling you to contract with other carriers. So you don't have to worry about contracting outside carriers. What that means is if it doesn't work out with them, you don't have to ask them for a release for your contract so that you can move it elsewhere. To go work with a different agency like maybe mine or somebody else where, like with us, we use multiple carriers. We try to put the agents in a position where they're actually independent so that they can give their clients some of the best products based on the client's health. Meanwhile, our agents are able to earn some of the higher commissions out there. Oh yeah, that's huge. Which brings me to a big negative about Senior Life Services of Vero Beach. Since their agents do have access to multiple insurance carriers, which again, I do like the idea of that, problem is they can control whether the agents can be released from those products or not. So if you do contract with Senior Life Services and want to leave them, but with them again, like they contract, they do a lot of American Amicable business. For example, you want to move your contract elsewhere, you're going to have to go 6 months without writing any business to that carrier and the other carriers that you're contracted with before you can contract those carriers again, with products with, a different company like, whoever, Digital BGA, Duford Insurance Group, United Final Expense Services, etc. All right, back to TV leads and Digital BGA. So the guys and gals over at Digital are doing something different with their inbound television leads. All of the final expense TV leads at Digital BGA are live. Now, what I mean by that is they come through their system and are routed to the specific agent every single time. So instead of the caller speaking to an employee of the company, the agent actually picks up the phone, which makes this a really strong lead if you're a talented closer. And the reason I say that talented closer, skill set comment is due to the cost. I mean, these type of leads are really expensive. They're around $70 each. But I really believe if you're a closer, they're worth every penny. Which brings us to my agency, United Final Expense Services, and why I truly believe that we have the strongest platform for remote final expense sales in the country, period. We don't use the television leads like Digital and or Senior Life of Georgia use. What we do, it's pretty different. We set up an actual advertising calendar appointment system with a call-in option for each and every single one of our remote agents. Here's how it works. First, we set up the system and we give one-on-one training to each agent. When the client fills out the lead form requesting a quote and more information about the life insurance, a photo pops up of the specific agent and it shows that agent's personal contact information. Pretty cool. Which at this point the prospect is directed to either hit the call now button, which we direct to the agent's cell phone. So yes, they do actually get inbound calls every single week, a bunch of them. But what we really specialize in is getting the prospects to actually set an appointment on that specific agent's calendar and at an average cost that is extremely feasible. And when the client sets the appointment to speak with the agent, they get an automated text message asking them to confirm the appointment by texting back. Pretty much all of them do, right? The clients, they actually do hit yes. Yes, I am still interested. They do reply to that. Now we've got a really strong appointment/lead. And what's even better about this type of system is that our top agents are getting, not exaggerating, at least 20 to 30 appointments every single day, which is just crazy. So yes, if you ask me, Doug, can you guarantee me an average of 20 to 30 appointments per day? The answer is yes, I can absolutely 100% do that. Hopefully you guys got something out of today's video. If you'd like a copy of that free new agent telesales super file, the one that's got all the killer sales materials that you're absolutely going to want to use for selling final expense remotely over the phone from the luxury of your own home, just email me at doug@ufesonline.com. If you'd like more information about working with us using our remote final expense sales platform to get all those killer appointments and call-ins, just shoot me an email at that same address. As always, guys, when you put the needs of your clients first, everything else will usually fall right into place. Now get off that couch, get out there, get that headset on, pick up that cell phone, whatever it is that you do, make sure you do something good for someone else today. Happy hunting.